Have you ever looked into your dog's eyes and felt like they were reading your soul? I mean, really, it's almost uncanny. You're sitting there, maybe a little down, and your pup comes over, rests their head on your lap, and suddenly it feels like they know exactly what you're going through. But here's the question. Do dogs actually understand us, or are they just really good at pretending? Let's dive into this fascinating topic. First off, let's talk about communication. Humans communicate through words, tone, body language, and even facial expressions. Dogs, on the other hand, rely heavily on body language and vocalizations. They bark, growl, whine, and even howl. But the most powerful tool in their communication arsenal is their body. A wagging tail, a lowered head, or even the position of their ears can convey a whole range of emotions. But what if I told you that dogs are not only reacting to our physical cues, but are also picking up on our emotional states? Research has shown that dogs can read human facial expressions. A study published in the journal Animal Cognition found that dogs are able to differentiate between happy and angry faces. They'll approach a person with a smile more readily than someone with a frown. This suggests that they're not just responding to our commands or gestures. They're genuinely tuned into our emotions. So, when you're feeling blue and your dog snuggles up to you, it might not just be a coincidence. They might actually be trying to comfort you because they sense your sadness. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how your dog seems to know when you're about to leave the house? They might start acting a little anxious or clingy, and that's no accident. Dogs are incredibly observant creatures. They pick up on our routines, our habits, and even our moods. They notice when we grab our keys or put on our shoes, and they can tell when something's off in our demeanor. It's almost like they have a sixth sense for human behavior. Now, let's talk about the science behind this. Dogs have been living alongside humans for thousands of years, and during that time, they've evolved in ways that make them more attuned to us. Their brains are wired to process social cues, and they have a remarkable ability to interpret our emotions. In fact, studies have shown that dogs' brains respond to human voices in a similar way to how our brains respond to other humans. When we speak to them, they're not just hearing sounds, they're processing the emotional content of our words. Isn't that wild? But what about the idea that they understand our words? Sure, we can teach dogs commands like sit, stay, and come. But what about the more complex stuff? Some researchers argue that dogs can learn a limited vocabulary. There are stories of dogs that can recognize hundreds of words and even respond to specific commands related to toys or actions. For example, there's a famous border collie named Chaser who knew over 1,000 words. That's like having a furry little genius in your home. It's not just about the commands. It's about the connection and understanding that can develop between a dog and their owner. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on our own behavior as dog owners. How often do we talk to our dogs as if they're people? We tell them about our day, share our secrets, and even vent our frustrations. It's not uncommon to hear someone say, "I just had the worst day at work," while their dog sits there, ears perked up, as if they're hanging on every word. Maybe it's because we're projecting our feelings onto them, or maybe it's because they genuinely do pick up on our emotional state. Either way, it creates a bond that's hard to break. But let's not forget the power of training and reinforcement. Dogs are incredibly adept at learning through positive reinforcement. When they respond to our emotions or commands, they're often rewarded with treats, praise, or affection. This creates a feedback loop where they learn that certain behaviors lead to positive outcomes. So, when your dog comes over to comfort you when you're sad, they might also be associating your emotional state with the love and attention they receive for their supportive behavior. It's a win-win situation. Of course, there are limits to what dogs can understand. They may not grasp the complexities of human language, but they certainly know the basics. They can sense when you're happy, sad, or stressed, and they often respond in ways that show they care. It's a beautiful reminder that communication isn't just about words. It's about connection, empathy, and understanding. So do dogs secretly understand us? I think the answer is a resounding yes, but with some caveats. They may not comprehend every word we say, but they definitely pick up on our emotions and body language. They're our companions, our confidants, and sometimes even our therapists. They offer unconditional love and support, often when we need it the most. Next time you're feeling down, take a moment to appreciate that furry friend by your side. They might just be more in tune with your feelings than you realize. And who knows? Maybe they're not just waiting for their next treat. Maybe they're waiting to lend a listening ear, one wagging tail at a time. So, let's cherish that bond, that understanding, and the love that flows between us and our dogs. After all, they may not speak our language, but in their own way, they understand us better than we often give them credit for.